All right, Frank, we need to talk about another Frank today, Thomas Frank, who's departed ways with Tottenham Hotspur. Are you surprised?
I'm not, because I think the board needed to take a decision because it didn't work. But I'm kind of sad, and I don't know, something's going in my head. I say, that guy has been so good the past seasons, you know, with his former club. How come he cannot transfer that to Tottenham Spurs? But we have seen that with many coaches at Spurs the past season. So maybe the players have to take some responsibilities in that matter, because you cannot be that good and be that bad the season after, even if you change the club. You know, your philosophy, your tactic, the way you want your players to play is kind of the same, because you want to keep, and you have a better personal so-called individuals than your former club, but it doesn't work. And after such a long time and so many years where I didn't see anything coming with Spurs, a little bit, maybe at the beginning the player, they listen to the coach, and after they do whatever they want. And I always said that for that club, I think the board and even the fans, they have to put the pressure on the players. It's like the players, they do whatever they want, and nobody is kind of resentful towards the players who do, I would say, almost nothing. So fans have to react, the board has to decide, and make sure that the next coach you're going to get will be listened by the players.
Yeah, it was 7 years of success at Brentford for Thomas Frank. So why didn't this translate to success at Spurs for him?
I think the way that Spurs play the game matters at Tottenham to the fans. You know, they hated it with Mourinho. I mean, they don't want to sit and watch a team that keeps it tight first and then tries to attack. And then, of course, you get Ange, and it goes completely the other way, and it's just too much. And so I think the pressure from the fans is a huge part of the problem. You know, they're not signing world beaters. They're signing players who are good enough to fight for the Champions League spots, but they're not signing players that are good enough to win the Premier League. And so it has to be that pressure that's coming from the outside that Spurs teams just don't handle. You know, we talked for years about Newcastle United fans thought that Newcastle should be winning the Premier League every year, winning the FA Cup, winning this, winning that. You know, they look at themselves as a certain type of club. And I think Spurs fans are the same. They seem to think that they should be something that they haven't been. Well, have they ever been? So I think there seems to be such a pressure coming from the outside that on paper you've got players that are of a certain calibre that can't produce. And it can't just be down to the managers all the time. Now, there's no question, when you're sitting in 16th place in the Premier League, you're in trouble. But I don't think it's all down to Thomas Frank. I think a lot of it is to do with the pressure coming from the fans in particular.
When you're this late into the season and Spurs are part of the relegation conversation, this goes on everybody. It's not just on Thomas Frank. It reflects poorly on the players, on the club, on the manager. But in addressing Thomas Frank in particular, and specifically him, when he knows his job is teetering, right? Barely hanging on. And I mean barely hanging on. You can't show up to a press conference to go and defend Cristian Romero and say the things that he said about him. This is a player that's usually not red carded. And then somebody from the news, a reporter, tells them, actually he's received the most red cards since he's been in the Premier League. That you don't know that, and you go out and do this, and then the expression on the face of Thomas Frank, like, ooh, oh, I didn't know that. If I'm a fan that was defending Thomas Frank up until that point, that's when I say game, set, match. This guy's not connected. He doesn't know what players he has available. He doesn't know his own players. He doesn't know anything about my group. He has to go. If I had any faith going into that press conference with Thomas Frank, after that performance, I go, no, I'm out. This guy's already checked out. We need him out the door.
Here are the next manager odds when it comes to Tottenham Hotspur, and which managers we'd be looking at to bring in to a club here and take over this group of players. Roberto De Zerbi, the favourite. Yes, remember him? 13-8 at the top of that list. What do you think of that, Frank?
Well, according to what I've seen with Marseille lately, I want to give a chance to De Zerbi, but not with what he has been working on with Marseille. When we saw the game against Liverpool, where, you know, you have the fans, you want to get crazy, you want to work hard, and you do something which absolutely pleased the Liverpool team, the reason they wanted to go in, no pressure whatsoever, where we all knew how they couldn't handle any pressure at that point. I don't know. It's I still have some question marks. I'm not sure he's going to be the right guy. Well, let's try. His philosophy of football before Marseille has been absolutely interesting, but will he please Tottenham? I don't know. I don't know if there is anybody who can please the players and the board and the fans at the same time. I don't know what's going on there, but it's like there is a curse, and anybody who has a little bit of an idea doesn't last long, because it's not followed by I would say the people responsible for that act, the players. The players listen for like 2 months, and after that's it.
That was an interesting reaction from you when you mentioned the Marseille-Liverpool game.
Right, I don't know how betting works, right?
Don't worry, that makes two of us.
So, in order for the bookies, do the bookies have
Can
to
you
take...
not ask this on a Dan Thomas show, the betting expert?
No, that's true. How can Ruben Amorim be on the betting? I mean, come on, seriously. How's that possible?
Do you need to know how betting works to be talking about this then?
Well, not really.
Why shouldn't he be on the list?
There's no reason why he should be on the list.
Why shouldn't he be on the list?
Why shouldn't he be?
Yeah.
How long have we got? What time are we finishing?
Hopefully sooner than later.
It's late here.
Yeah. Let's just go
to that. But when you do look at a manager who's looking to take it over, when we're talking about this and the players being a problem here and playing style being a problem and the fans being so demanding, that's going to be factored in by any manager who is looking to take this job on.
Well, managers at this level think they can fix everything and anything. I'll take these players on. I'm bigger than them. I've got a strong personality. I can do this. I'll sort them out on the field. I'll sort them out on the training pitch. I'll sort them out disciplinary, any action they want to try. They're not beating me. But are you telling me that Mourinho and Conte aren't those two guys that thought and said that to themselves? And they couldn't do it? So, I mean, again, you've got to look at the playing staff. You're going to have to change the playing staff. Because this playing staff on paper is not bad, but when it comes to getting it done, they can't do it. So, I mean, this is a tough one to choose. How do you throw Conte away, Mourinho away? I mean, who's going to have a better CV than they had when they got the Spurs job? So this is going to be a complete and utter gamble from Spurs as to what they're going to get next.